Hey guys, what is going on? Devon here. Hope you guys are having a good day so far, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts 101. I am joined once again by Josh Music. Josh, say hello.
Josh, say hello.
God. Okay. So this is episode 2. We have completed Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. We're gonna talk about the game in its entirety. So full spoilers if you haven't played the game. We'll be talking about it in full detail from beginning to end and getting Josh's opinion on it, and in the end getting his predictions for the future of the series, namely the next game that we're going to play after this. So to start off, generally, Josh, what are your thoughts on Kingdom Hearts Final Mix?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic game. I was pleasantly surprised by just the story was fantastic. And the length I thought was fantastic. It's been a while since I've played any older games, but I thought it was really lengthwise I thought it was perfect. Gameplay wise, it was pretty good. The fighting mechanics, the platforming mechanics.
We're gonna get into the platforming mechanics.
Hit and miss. Definitely a few levels where it would start to drive you up the wall, namely where you had to jump on top of hippos in the Tarzan.
In Deep Jungle, yeah.
Yeah, Deep Jungle was definitely it was difficult, and then the whole Atlantica world was just
yeah,
so much.
I can see the comments already. Everybody's just gonna be like, "Wait for the sequel." Oh yeah, but
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, you go first.
I was just gonna say nothing that was unplayable. It was just it definitely threw a little bit of a wrench in the works. But I've played a few games where it definitely I would have just said, "Oh, I'm giving up. Like this is like almost impossible." Like Arma 3. Oh my freaking god! I literally gave up on the campaign. Like long story short on that end. But yeah, overall, really good experience. It's so weird to see just this type of game. You never think Disney and SquareEnix would ever come together. Like the concept of an American company and a Japanese company of two different natures too, coming together to make a product. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where it's like, what is it? Laundry soap and a light bulb company come together and they merge together and they make freaking Homer's face or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's just like what, like, but somehow it works, and it's really thoroughly enjoyable. So
Nice. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm gonna plug my videos again. I did in the Kingdom Hearts Changed My Life video. I talk about each game in depth, so you can go there for my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. I thoroughly enjoyed it, mainly for the story. The gameplay I don't necessarily think has held up, especially when we get to later games in the series. You'll tell that the gameplay has improved. So coming back to Kingdom Hearts 1, it's still good. It's just a lot of the controls are very clunky, especially with the platform, like you were saying.
like nothing I can. It's definitely it definitely throws a wrench into the works, but it's nothing like I'd say that's unexcusable for considering like when the game came out and originally was coming out on PS2. Like there was a lot of, like, we take for granted now a lot of modern gaming, like they figured out a lot of bugs when it came to 3D gaming, like especially like when PS1 came out and stuff like that, and N64, and then PS2 and GameCube. Like by that generation, they were just ironing out the kinks in 3D gaming. Mm-hmm. So there was still like some things that they were just trying to figure out. It's like after that, like I'd say anything that hits the next generation definitely should have the kinks worked out. Like if this game originally came out on PS3, I'd be a little bit upset. I'd be like, what were they, like, really? You couldn't have figured like how to make platforming a lot more smooth and less jarring. But like I said, for the time era, it doesn't bother me that much. characters, like the original characters, like Sora. I definitely really like. I think he's a strong-willed kid, and I love that type of personality. I love Riku's story arc of like getting kind of sucked into the darkness and thinking, like, honestly, and I made a joke about this near the end, but I kind of get a Star Wars vibe off of that. Like, he almost like had a Vader moment of like, oh yeah, this has got to be the way of doing it, and then finds out like, oh shit, like what have I done? Like, this is not the way. What was I let the goals blind me of like my beliefs and what is actually truly right. So he was super interesting. Kairi, don't really know much about. I like her, but I kind of hope for this, and this is kind of leading on to the next game. I'm hoping to see more of her and possibly have her do more. Because I kind of felt like she was almost like a Sakura from Naruto. Like, that's kind of just there, but I mean, she was gone for most of the game. Like, she was, she physically wasn't be able to do anything. So I'm hoping for the future. I want to see more of her. I want to see Sora just continuing. I actually kind of would like to see. Well, they kind of did it a little bit, but I'd like to see him have kind of a downfall in the second game. Like, not a complete give up, but say, oh my god, like, what am I doing? Like, maybe feels a little bit, overwhelmed in the next game and has to, like, possibly train or do something to kind of get stronger. I think that would be kind of cool. And then Riku, I just want to see the same progression of him coming back to who he was and trying to get stronger. Donald and Goofy, they can just stay the same. They're just there to kind of help out. I would love to see more of Mickey. I have a feeling he's going to be a lot more in the second game.
Yeah, I can say that now. You'll see a lot more of Mickey going forward.
And I don't know if to correct a mistake from the first time we recorded, I said...
Oh yeah, you said you were going to bring this up, yeah.
Yes, I actually watched Fandom Hearts. So I did know about the storyline. I didn't remember that at the first we were talking about it, but I remembered afterwards, like, oh yeah, this story does seem familiar. It's like, oh, that's why, because Fandom Hearts covered it. They did their own stuff. They obviously couldn't recreate everything because you got a limited amount of time and space to work with, and you physically just can't, and it's be boring to do it verbatim anyways. But anyways, I did know some of the storyline, but I have a feeling that Ansem might return. Maybe,
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Maybe I'm just getting this a little bit mistaken, but I have a feeling he's going to return. What else do I have for prediction? Is the next game... Was it also released on PS2 or PS3?
Kingdom Hearts 2 was released on PS2. That won't be the next game that we're jumping into, but yes.
Because they got the 1.5.
Yeah, so... Yeah, not to get ahead of ourselves, but yeah, the next game we will be jumping into is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. It was originally a Game Boy Advance game that was released... I think a year before Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. It was supposed to act as a direct sequel to Kingdom Hearts, and if I'm being honest, it was mainly just an excuse to play the original Kingdom Hearts on a mobile device, or sort of portable system, whatever. But it does have an original story that sort of explains things that will happen in Kingdom Hearts 2, sort of flesh out the story more and set up for going into that. Yeah, so, but we can get into that later. So,
because I was just trying to think of a timeline for more Disney properties by PS3 era. That's kind of hard for me to think of. Well, they still didn't use every property they could have, even for like the 2D animated part of Disney. But
actually, yeah. Speaking on that front, talking about the Disney properties, Josh, what was your favorite world in this game?
Ooh, Traverse Town. No.
Not original world.
My OG Traverse Town. No. Ooh. I think, funny enough, I kind of liked Alice in Wonderland.
Really?
I think that one's... give me a second to really think about it. I think Alice in Wonderland is it's at least my like one of the top. I'm just trying to rethink.
Do you need a refresher on all the worlds that we?
Well, just I can narrow it down to the ones I didn't care for a whole lot, which is definitely Atlantica and, well, Tarzan Worlds wasn't that bad except for the hippo section, but those two would definitely be my least favorite. There's also Agrabah, which Agrabah was not too bad. I'd say it's middle of the road, but
I think Agrabah mostly gets points for its story, because like that's where the story stuff really starts to pick up.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly the gameplay, because you were having a hard ass time trying to hop around that town.
Yeah, that's mainly the thing. Because there's definitely a lot of high and low points. That's where they actually, like, that's where I give them props during that time phase where they effectively used 3D gaming. Like, they used different platforms at different heights, leading to different sections, like, and it would tie in together. Like, it would go, like, you'd walk into the next section of the street on a higher platform, but you can jump back down to a lower, like, that's where they started using stuff pretty effectively. But, like, I found that a little bit, like, confusing at some point where, like, okay, where am I going?
Also,
I do kind of need a little bit of
yeah, we can go through the stories, but talking about Agrabah, one of the best story moments. Wait a sec, are you Maleficent? Peace. She fades out.
It's just, are you Maleficent? I'm just gonna nope my way out.
So yeah. Oh, let me think about it. Okay, so the Disney World. So we talked about Wonderland. Olympus Coliseum was another one. Oh my god, coming out of every world, you were just like, as soon as Chip and Dale pop up, it's just like, a new tournament's arrived at the Coliseum. You're just like, god damn it, I can't deal with this right now.
It's like a needy-ass girlfriend. Leave me alone. I'll pick up the milk later. No, but, like, I see that I'm kind of indifferent. I kind of want to say I don't like that world, but for what it was, which was just basically to set up those tournaments, and I'm even trying to think about the Hercules movie. I don't think there's much else you could really do. So that one I like.
Yeah.
Then there was
Deep Jungle was after that, and then it was Agrabah, and then
Peter Pan's.
Neverland was in
Neverland.
there as well.
That one I didn't mind.
You were having a field day with the flying.
The flying was a lot of fun. Big Ben was really cool.
Yeah, I didn't get to show you the Phantom secret boss that takes place there, but it takes place at Big Ben, and it is a fucking nightmare.
You showed me the cutscene for that.
Yeah, I showed you the cutscene for that one. It's rough.
Yeah, why am I not remembering? Like, I just finished the game. You think I remember all these worlds?
There was Monstro, the Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say I definitely liked it for the theme-wise. Like, it was cool to see you get in first, and it's like ships and stuff broken inside his mouth. And then the further you get in, the more and more, like, weird and kind of, like, you know, Oregon looking like it is, and it's got different different platforms. So I did run into the issue of Kingdom Hearts 1 of not being able to open chests when there are enemies nearby.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I learned that annoyance.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Again, something I can excuse for the first game when they're trying to figure out stuff. Would this count as an original world? But the storybook with Pooh's
yes, Winnie the Pooh's 100 Acre Wood. That I'd say that's a Disney. That you can count that as a Disney World. It's mostly just for Disney games. But I do remember when we first got the book, and you and I said, "Yo, go into the book. You should check it out." And then we go into the book. Winnie the Pooh pops up, and he has his whole monologue about, "Oh, I'm waiting for my friends to come back, and maybe I'll be able to say goodbye to myself." As soon as that cutscene was done, you turned to me and was just like, "I totally get why you love this game now."
Just like, it's so wholesome and like, oh, but yeah, I'll say I still say Alice in Wonderland.
Are you sure, Josh? Because there was one that I knew that you flipped the fuck out when it first showed up. Halloween Town.
Halloween. Oh yes. How did I forget Halloween Town? Ooh. I would.
Yeah, he's thinking about it, folks.
I would say it's tied between Alice in Wonderland and Halloween Town. I think both of them play really well to the source material in terms of like level design wise, like looking at, like they would come right out of the movies. The story fits in well, and the platforming and enemies I liked about the particular worlds, and just. For example, like I love the world interaction between both of them. Like I like that you go into the forest section of the Alice in Wonderland, and you have to eat you have to give plants, potions and stuff. They become big or small or open different sections, and it's kind of a maze and like that. And then the part of having to shrink down to get inside, like that I really loved about Alice in Wonderland. I think that fits perfectly with the source material. You talking to the Queen of Hearts, she's crazy as usual and just wants everybody's head off. So I love that. And then Halloween Town has my favorite character redesign of the whole game. I love the character redesign. I love the banter between the characters. The fact that Doctor was trying to figure out like what goes into a heart and like literal like putting together pieces of what makes a heart. And it's still like that part is really interesting. Oogie Boogie's boss battle was probably my favorite in terms of level design and well, it could have been a little bit more difficult, but I thought the difficulty was really good. And then the house section too.
Oh yeah, the house section where
when he becomes the house section is I thought that was super cool. I guess actually now I think about it, I probably would give it to Halloween Town because you're right. My immediate reaction was like, "Oh my god, this is a Disney property," and wow, they did a lot of really cool stuff here. How did I forget that? Oh, I feel bad.
Yeah, I was waiting as we were like listing off the worlds. I'm just like, I'm waiting for you to say Halloween Town because I know you really enjoyed it.
So it went from Alice in Wonderland, then you went to.
Then you went to well, technically we went to Deep Jungle first, and then we went to Olympus.
And Olympus.
Because it was that we did a loop around, and then we take it back to Traverse Town to do some stuff.
And after Olympus was
Agrabah. And then we went toward Monstro first, so that we could get to Atlantica, so we can get that shit done over with.
So and then Atlantica, then Halloween Town,
and then Neverland, and then we wrapped up all the stuff at 100 Acre Wood. That was all the Disney properties, and then we went into Hollow Bastion,
which I love and I hate it.
Okay.
I love.
Feel free to explain.
I love the feel of it. It definitely feels like this is not anything we've seen before. It's definitely more alien than the Disney property worlds and Traverse Town. Like everything else, it feels really, really out there. But on the flip side, the platforming was it wasn't as bad because I kind of cheat in a sense, like just kind of jump around stuff and then use a gummy ship to get into certain points. But definitely, if you did it as probably intended, I could see a lot of possible frustration and I'm like, wow, like there's a lot of platforming, like especially having to go through the what was it, the workshop?
The lift stop.
Yeah. The lift stop is like I got getting sick of seeing the lift stop at some points. I'm like, holy crap, like why is this still a thing? But the library section I really thought was interesting, and that ties the story in well. Like it has a purpose. Not only does it change up too, like the actual library level changes, it also adds to the story, which I think that's why the love part comes in. It's like there's some sections in it that I really thought was interesting, and then near the end where you actually fight Maleficent, I thought that whole section was really cool too. I think honestly her boss battle was probably my favorites in terms of difficulty and just the actual room you fight in. Like there's enough space to actually move around and fight.
Wait a sec. Are you talking about Maleficent or Dragon Maleficent?
Dragon Maleficent.
Oh, Dragon Maleficent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's really good.
Yeah. It's kind of But yeah, so love hate with that world, and then what was after the one with the hey guys, the water's going up. That one.
Yeah. Yeah. I also I really like Hollow Bastion. It's probably one of my favorite worlds from the Kingdom Hearts series, mostly based on its level design. Sans the left stop. The left stop, I'm not a fan of it, but like just the scope of the castle and the music. Yoko Shimomura's music. I know we didn't really talk about it that much while we were playing the game. I don't know if you were paying attention to it that much, but what were your thoughts on the music when you could?
Music was fantastic. That was the other really good thing about the game, was the music was fantastic. Every world was a different set of music. I didn't find like it was repetitive at all. Like it was really good. It helped with the atmosphere too, especially like it would change when you'd have like a bunch of enemies show up. Yeah, so music, fantastic. That's I wouldn't say that's the biggest thing on the game, but like next to gameplay, like I'd say gameplay, story, music, and then everything else is just icing on the cake. So like graphics and like aesthetics, because gameplay is super important, because if you can't play, there's no point in having a story, because that means you can't progress between the levels to get to the story. So gameplay is huge. That's literally, it's part of the name of a game, gameplay. And story is super important. After that, it almost goes hand in hand, because if there's no story, then you're just moving from one place to another. And then music's just, I love music, so yeah, music, fantastic.
It's in your name.
Oh yeah.
So we are talking about Hollow Bastion, so I guess we can sort of talk about the end game stuff. Was there anything about the end game in particular that I know you kind of already knew the plot going into it, but was there anything about the end game sort of stuff that caught you off guard or you found interesting and stuff?
I was surprised by I kind of liked it, because it was really pushing the out there kind of feel of the game in general. There was sections you keep going through portals, and it was almost like disjointed, like in a good way though. You get to a room, like you fought a bunch of Heartless, and then there was a Heartless symbol that was breaking apart, and then opened a portal. You go through that portal, it goes to another room that has the last save point before you do the boss battle. And like every section is a little bit different than the last. There was the section where like has a bunch of invisible walls. You have to move around to get from treasure chest to treasure chest and treasure chest. If I can speak properly.
Can you speak tonight? I know you were out of it when you got here, but
yeah, a little bit. But you open and then it would transport you, to a battle or give you an item. But I liked how every part was different. Like they weren't huge levels, but the time and energy that would go into making just a small room and stuff like that amazes me, and I love just how different every section was leading up to the final boss fight. And I honestly thought there was going to be less than there was. Like so there'd be I think like 7 phases to Ansem, because you start off at the islands.
Let me think. So like the first time you fight him on Destiny Islands, and then you go through the dark side again. Also, I wasn't here when you fought it. Did you like breeze through it when I?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kept pounding on
it. Yeah. I will say this. Just so that we can breeze through all of these games, I am having Josh play on beginner. So he had all the power ups, AP ups, and magic and defense and shit like that, so that he could get through. But like, yeah, it's a far cry from like when you start the game and you fight the dark side in like the dive to the heart section, and then when you fight him at the end. Like how powered up you are, it's just like, oh man.
Well, it helped too switching keyblades
Oh yeah.
a lot.
Okay, so a little context. I was hoping Josh was going to catch on that you would be able to switch your keyblades in your equipment and stuff like that. We went through the entire game up until the end of the world with Josh playing with just Kingdom Key and the ribbon and EXP necklace that you get for playing a beginner. And Donald and Goofy even had Mage Staff and Night Shield at the beginning. It was literally after one fight in the end of the world, it was fighting those angel things.
That was my only death, too.
Yeah, we were so close to going a no-death run, too. And when we lost to those ones, I was just like, okay, I'll let the secret out. You could have changed your Keyblade this entire time. The only reason I didn't say you can change your Keyblade is because I kept referring it to keychains. Because technically there's only one Keyblade, so you just switch out the keychain and it changes its form. It's like, oh shit. And it gives you different like, power-ups and stuff like that. So we used the Oath Keeper to beat the game. I was hoping, before we got to the final boss, that I would have been able to do some of the post-game materials that I could show you the Ultima Weapon. Which is... So... another thing, we didn't do a lot of the synthesis materials either because we just didn't find time or a necessity to do it. But basically, when you go through the list of the synthesis stuffs, you can eventually unlock the ability to synthesize a new shield for Goofy, a new shield for Donald, and the last and most powerful keychain for Sora, which is the Ultima Weapon. Actually, while we're here, because I have my computer in front of me, per usual, I'm going to show you a picture of what the Ultima Weapon looks like because it is a frickin' boss, my dude.
Boss.
Oh, it's a boss. That's Kingdom Hearts 3. We don't want to talk about that right now. Ultima Weapon. Pull that up.
Okay, Optimus Prime.
So that's kind of what the Ultima Weapon... Yeah.
God damn. Yeah, I could... The name is fitting.
Yeah, it has 14 plus strength. It gives you 2 extra MP bars, and yeah, it's a boss.
So is that like from? Do you unlock that from like not dying in the game?
No, you have to synthesize it. So you synthesize all the items that the Moogles have out for you and stuff like that. Until you eventually get the option to synthesize the Ultimate Weapon. You have to go out and find like different synthesis items for it. Usually it's typically rare ones that you get. They're not that hard to find, but yeah, and then you can synthesize it and bada bing bada boom, you have the most powerful fucking weapon in the game.
God damn.
And it is awesome. And so I will say for Kingdom Hearts 2, I am going to have stuff prepped so that when we get to post-game stuff, we will be able to use it. So that before we go into the final boss, we can be like, hey, here you go. You can go through all this stuff here and stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. I had us read the Ansem reports as we were going through the game. Because something I always tell people when you play Kingdom Hearts for the first time, read the Ansem reports. There's important plot information there.
Yeah, I like how the way that they released it. At first, it sounds like he's just trying to figure things out, and then, yeah, as you start to get more and more, especially at the end, you see his true intentions are to basically run the Heartless, and try to take their power as his own.
Yeah, I love the progression of how it releases, how the game releases information to you, especially when it comes to the Ansem reports, because when you show it off, it's just like, oh yeah, Ansem was this Sage King who was running, and he was a scientist. He was doing some neat stuff and stuff like that. But then it starts releasing the pages out of order, and it's just like, this is odd. This is very weird. And then when you get that last batch from Aerith, I think is when it finally just dumps it all on you, like, oh, this guy went insane. he
is bonkers.
Yeah, he did all these cruel, inhumane things.
Oh, that's the other thing. We didn't mention the fact that they have Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah. I remember when we first got to Traverse Town and we went into the accessory shop. So for all the text bubble stuff, I did voices for the characters so that Josh could get an idea of who they were. As soon as I did the gruff southern accent for when we got in there, you were just like, wait, is that who I think it is? And then he's like, don't call me Gramps. The name's Sid. You lost your mind. So a little context. Before this, I showed Josh the Final Fantasy VII Abridged by Cloud Strife 8, which if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, you were pretty familiar with who some of the Final Fantasy characters are, so when they popped up, you were just like, oh my god.
Just get some more parts for your gummy ship. Just like,
what's my real job? You'll see.
Yeah, Devon doing the voices, has made it like another 10% better, I'd say.
Thanks,
like, not saying the game needed it, but it makes the game go from like 100 to 110. So.
Aw, thanks, Josh.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
Thanks,
my
boy.
Kupo. Yeah, oh yeah, yes. I also found out that in my mind that it's canon that Kupo is the N-word for Moogles.
Jesus.
So every time they end their sentence with Kupo, it's the N-word. So I kept chuckling every time I bumped into a Moogle and had a conversation with them.
But yeah. So I think we covered the basics of it. Ansem became the villain. We beat him with the power of friendship and love, and then
The light.
Yeah, the light. But why?
And then we finally seen King Mickey at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one that keeps being mentioned, but
he never shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, the ending was pretty good. If I told Devon, if there wasn't a sequel, it would have been kind of a sad ending. But knowing that there is more to the games coming up, it makes me super excited that the series is continuing.
Mm-hmm.
I hope as the game progresses. You said they're definitely coming out with another one, right?
Yeah. So they as of right now, Kingdom Hearts 3 has just come out. So the current story arc is now done. It's over.
Okay, so
they are going to be moving into a new story arc with the next games that come out.
Okay, so like did they wrap? Okay, because that's always what I worry about. Like starting a game series is having to play through it and not having stuff wrapped up. I always like when a story is wrapped up. Like, I don't mind if a story is a cliffhanger as long as it's a good cliffhanger. Like, I'm just trying to think of what games I've played that really ended in a cliffhanger that was maybe the thing like, oh wow, that's a really good ending.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of any. To be honest, but anyways, so
when you beat Ansem, you didn't have to
Submit!
Submit my home. Submit!
I'm sorry.
Oh! That brings up another thing, voice acting. Knowing that they got a lot of the original voice actors from the Disney properties to voice the characters, I thought was awesome. I hope to see, and probably this is a hardware limitation thing of the PS2, but I'm hoping to see more voice acting in the next games. Well, you said the next one's a Game Boy Advance. I don't think there's going to be any.
Well, the one that we're going to be playing was remade for the PS2, and it's on the collection. So
they added voice acting into
They did add voice acting to it.
Okay.
And I will say that, and I will say this right now because it was released on the Game Boy in 2004. The PlayStation 2 remake came out after Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, in I think 2007, 2008. Actually, yeah, it came out in Japan in 2007, came out in America in 2008. I'll explain why when we get to Kingdom Hearts 2. But basically, the game is fully remastered, voice acted, full 3D movement and all that jazz. With full voice acting, and you'll notice that it definitely takes that this was made after Kingdom Hearts 2 because you can very clearly tell that Sora's voice actor went through puberty.
Really?
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. So when we start up Chain of Memories and you hear Sora talk for the first time, it is the same voice actor. He just grew up.
Interesting. Well, 2008. That's super late for a PS2 game. Like I think that was near like the end.
It was near the end of the PlayStation. It was
that
near the
should've
end of the PlayStation 2's cycle. The reason it was released as that is because when Kingdom Hearts 2 got its re-release as Final Mix over in Japan, they remade Chain of Memories and included it in with Final Mix. So that's why it was packaged in and why it was still on PS2.
I can see, like, I do remember back in that time frame, though, going to Walmart, and I remember seeing PS2 games when, like, still in the case at that time frame, and thinking, like, wow, like, PS2 is still popular enough, even though, like, the new consoles have come out, and I think they were out for a little bit, at least a year or so. I don't remember exactly, but wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but still, that's sweet that because I was thinking, like, oh yeah, Game Boy Advance was not really like. I don't get me wrong, I loved it when it came out, but thinking back, like looking back at the games we have now, mobile gaming has come a long way.
Yeah, especially with the Switch out and about, like that's.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, depending on your definition of mobile gaming, because you can say a laptop's a mobile gaming device, and honestly, like you can get some like even back then you got a really really good laptop and it could play some really wicked games, but yeah, in terms of like console driven mobile devices. Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm excited.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of all that I personally wanted to talk to you about, and I hope that if there's anything else you want to say quickly about Final Mix before we move into our next topic of discussion.
No, well, I guess just I'm really enjoying the series. I see why now you're a big fan. And I hope that just the gameplay and everything that I've digging so far, like everything I've loved so far, just keeps getting better and better.
Nice.
So
yeah, I think moving into the next discussion, before we actually talk about Chain of Memories, I want to talk about a quick piece of post-game that I quickly showed you that's going to deal a lot with the sequel. That's the unknown fight at Hollow Bastion. Now, I showed you the cutscene. It's the guy in the black robe who comes out, and he's like, oh, you remind me of him. He has no voice. He just speaks in text, and he challenges Sora into his duel. He's going to be very important going forward. And you can tell that he's important because I also showed you the Secret movie. So for those of you who don't remember the Secret movie for Kingdom Hearts 1, called Another Side, Another Story, it takes place... It's stylistically very different from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it looked like a brutal Japanese 3D anime. Like it was definitely it was more gritty. It had almost a tone of a what's it called, that style of movie? A film noir.
Yeah,
to me,
almost
like
a
it was
little
in
bit.
color though, but like,
Yeah, especially like with him, like that shot of him like walking in the rain and stuff like that.
I was waiting for like jazz music to kick in.
There I
This
was,
city.
walking through the dark streets, the heartless coming to my aid. Yeah, he was fighting. Josh, he was fighting with 2 Keyblades.
Yeah,
That's very odd, right?
I can't wait when they start fighting with 3.
Oh, jeez.
No, but yeah, that's also, he wasn't Sora.
Yeah, that's also very true. That wasn't Sora.
I mean, I guess
Well, I mean, the other guy, he kind of looked like Riku. So.
Riku did use the Keyblade, so never mind. But still, that's still really different.
But yeah, so basically like I said earlier, the Secret movies, they're very conceptual. So they were kind of ideas that Tetsuya Nomura had knocking around in his brain of what he would possibly want to do with a sequel to Kingdom Hearts. Again, they didn't know if the game was going to be successful enough to warrant a sequel, so he just threw it out there for to see if people were just going to be interested enough. Lo and behold, the game was a success, and so Square and Disney came back to him and said, "Hey, yeah, we want a sequel." So he was just like, "All right, fine. It's going to take me a little while. I hear some people want to play it on a handheld, so I'm going to develop that real quick, and I'll throw some story bits into it to set up the sequel." And that will lead us into Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Originally released for the Game Boy Advance, we will be playing the PlayStation 2 remake, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. For context, we actually won't be playing all of it. So for anyone who has played Chain of Memories, you know that the gameplay is very different from the other Kingdom Hearts games, and if you don't know how to play it properly, you'll tear your fricking hair out. So what we're gonna do is that after we're done this, we're probably gonna jump into it real quick. We're probably gonna play through the first world maybe of Rechain of Memories, just so that Josh can get a feel for how the gameplay is and stuff like that. And then for the rest of it, I'm just gonna be showing him the cutscene theater, just so that he gets the full idea of the story and how it works. We might, because I was thinking about this the other day, we might, maybe when it comes to like the final boss, I might play it just to sort of show you how that goes down, because the final boss of Chain of Memories is actually pretty fucking cool. So I might play that just so that you can sort of show how it is and stuff like that. But I do kind of want to give you an idea of how it plays, so that you can be like, oh, this is why we're not playing it. And yeah, I think Chain of Memories story is still very interesting to learn about, and what it sets up for Kingdom Hearts 2. But Josh, leading into our final discussion point, what are your predictions for Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories?
Goofy is going to team up with Shaggy.
Oh dear God!
And,
he will achieve his ultimate form.
I will say this before I forget. A small gripe, though. That's the one thing that ticks me off about game companies, is when they release games and then they switch to a different platform. Like, I can understand, like, I don't know if they couldn't for some reason do it on a PSP. I don't know if it was not out yet.
This was 2004, so don't think so. The PSP wasn't out yet.
Okay, so that's somewhat excusable. But I know, like, for example, for Bayonetta, they did the first game on PS3 and then the sequel on Wii U, and it's like, what?
Yeah,
they do that stuff like sometimes, and it just bothers the heck out of me, because it's like, okay, well, if a Sony fan had a PS3, he's gonna buy a PS4, so now he's gotta go and buy a Wii U to play the sequel. Like, why? Anyways, but my predictions are, well, he said it's only gonna be story driven a little bit. I think probably it's gonna add a little bit more backstory into the lore, more so about the darkness and the heartless and the hearts of the world. I don't really think there's going to be much character progression, but we'll see. I think maybe might do a little bit more backstory stuff between the three of them, so Riku and Kairi, but I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be more lore orientated than character progression.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, those are some good predictions, and with that, I think we're going to jump into the next game. Thank you as always, Josh, for joining me.
Anytime.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me, my Kupo.
Oh yeah. No problem, Kupo.
Oh my God. Yeah, can we get that trending in the chat? Hashtag my Kupo.
Yes. Kupo is just Moogle for the N-word.
Oh my God,
that's so
weird.
amazing.
Oh,
if you
hell.
If you play the game and just in your mind just do that, and you'll have a good laugh.
But yeah, with that, I think we're going to close this episode here. Thank you as always, Josh, for joining me. We will come back after we are done Rechain of Memories. Hopefully it will, because we're not playing through the entire game, will actually be quicker to get onto the second episode of the podcast, so that hopefully we can quickly get onto Kingdom Hearts 2, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, with that, thank you all so much for listening to today's episode of Kingdom Hearts 101. Please like, share this video with all your friends, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, Josh, do you have any final remarks?
Support my Patreon.
We don't have a Patreon yet. Wait till my subscribers grow, and then maybe we will have a Patreon too.
Go on. Okay. Go to email money transfer Devon at
stop.
No, I'm good.
God.
Thank
Okay.
you for listening. Thank you to all Devon subscribers, including myself. I can't wait to actually
listen to these.
Listen to these.
Yeah, because we're gonna post the first episode alongside this. Or yeah, we'll figure it out along the way. Thank you all so much for watching. May your heart be your guiding key. Take care, everybody. Bye.